Welcome to the Engineering Insights podcast. Our guest today is Mansi Ahuja, who's an electronic and electrical engineer at the University of Bath. Hi, it's great to have you.
Hi, thank you for having me, Aslan.
So, I actually heard about you and Team Bath Heart from
Mhm.
the Bath Open Day. They showed
Okay.
us your team video. Did you know that they were doing that?
Yeah, we've done loads of open days. So yeah, I think a lot of people have heard of us through them, specifically as well.
So, before we get into everything about Team Bath Heart and
Yeah.
experiences at the University of Bath, what was your experience like doing the IB in Turkey and then moving to the UK to do a degree?
Yeah, so that was a very nice experience. So I've moved around a lot. So I
Mhm.
did my GCSEs, well, actually, IGCSEs in China. So I studied in an international school in Shanghai. So I completed 5 years there, and then I moved to Turkey, so I was going to an international school in Ankara and was doing IB there. And there I did my higher level subjects, which was math, physics, and art, to go on to studying electrical and electronic engineering at the
Mhm.
University of Bath. So those were like the requirements needed. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. It's been really nice to go to international schools and kind of have like that international exposure and get culturally involved in different countries, and definitely a unique experience. And it's definitely helped me like get a lot of, my placements, my jobs, or get into like university and kind of provide a different angle, I guess, or a different perspective. So yeah, it's very nice.
Is the teaching style different to Turkey here and Shanghai?
The school in Shanghai was a lot bigger, so they had multiple international schools like spread across the whole of sort of Asia and Southeast Asia.
Mhm.
So there, I guess things were more standardized, whereas the school in Turkey was slightly different because it was much smaller and it was like, yeah, smaller scale, so less standardized things, I would say. A smaller school as well, so a lot less people went to it. So I think their maybe teaching style kind of differed naturally just because of those standardizations. But that's about it. But I think both, because they both were teaching sort of already established diplomas, they were kind of, I guess, standardized across like the whole of IB is kind of
Mhm.
the same thing, and the whole of like the IGCSEs are the same thing.
What led you to choosing art for IB? Because, it doesn't directly
Yeah.
relate to engineering.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a rogue one. But so I've always been into art and fine arts. And I did it in IGCSE as well and really, really enjoyed it. So I wanted to
Mhm.
carry that on. I mean, like, I am an engineer at heart, but also an artist, and I wanted to be able to keep that kind of hobby and passion up. So, and I know that doing higher level art, especially in IB, is known to be very difficult, but I was definitely up for the challenge. And it was kind of a break, I guess, from doing like maths and physics. And it's always been
Mhm.
a kind of break for me from engineering and stuff as well. So I still kind of kept that on and wanting to keep that on.
Yeah. Have you kept on doing it even at university as well?
Yeah, so not at a university level. Like I haven't gotten involved in university level like art things, but I have kind of just kept painting, kept it as like a side hobby. At university, you don't get that much time, but during placement, for example, I had a lot more time on weekends and in the evenings to kind of focus on that. So yeah.
Mm. When you were looking at, choosing engineering, what led you to choose electronic and electrical specifically?
So I mean, I've grown up in a house of electronic and electrical engineering, and so I've always been fascinated by, how tech works and whether it's consumer electronics or sort of electric vehicles or now more and more computer science as well. I thought it was a nice field to go into, for the interest that I had, and I wanted a degree that gave me a really strong technical foundation, but also sort of the flexibility to go into various industries. And I think electrical engineering kind of gives you that. And it combines sort of the creative aspects with problem solving. And so I was really drawn to this idea of designing systems that could have a real world impact.
And what what specifically is the difference between electrical and electronic? Like, is there a difference, or is that just, how the naming works of that branch of engineering?
Yeah, I think there definitely is a difference. So the electrical side focuses more on the bigger aspects, I guess. So like power systems, electromagnetism, and large scale transmissions. So think of like power grids or motors or renewable energy. And then the electronic side is a lot more I guess is the more the newer tech and is more about the smaller like nitty-gritty parts. So circuits, semiconductors, microcontrollers, and all of that. So the course integrates both, but you can obviously tailor your projects and like your final year projects as well, and your optional modules to align with the side that you're more interested in.
Mm. Which side do you think that you're more interested in?
I think the electronic side, but also the nice thing about electrical engineering and electronic engineering at Bath is that we are now more and more integrating sort of computer science modules as well. And that was kind of the field that I wanted to go into. So computational intelligence and visual computing and all of that. So I've kind of leaned more into those aspects while also still like holding on to a few electronics modules, but I kind of went more and more into the computer science side of it.
Is that something that you think Bath does quite well in comparison to other universities?
Well, I can't speak for other universities, but I do think that Bath does give kind of like the flexibility to choose the stream that you want to go into and choose the modules that you want to go into. And it's quite nice because you can pick specific computer science modules that are taught by the Department of Computer Science. So I think it's nice to kind of see what other departments are also doing and actually get like a taste of that.
Would this be more in your third and fourth year then, like, in comparison
Yes,
to, yeah?
exactly. Yeah. So post-placement year, basically.
What would you say is the most challenging part of your degree so far?
I think the most challenging part was I think for us at least, so I started during COVID, and I think
Mm,
the most challenging part for a lot of my cohort was getting up to speed with those practical skills that we kind of
yeah.
missed out on in first and second year. Because they were kind of like we were kind of expected to know them by third year, but that was quite difficult given that we were not really in person in first year. So
Mhm.
I think that would have been the most challenging part, and it's kind of a shame because I think we missed out on some of the key or core practical skills. But I think that goes for anyone that did and that started any kind of degree in during COVID.
Mhm.
So I think that was the most difficult part for me.
So then what kind of projects does that lead you to do in third and fourth year?
So in third year is when that was post placement for me, and that is when I got involved with Team Bath Heart. So a lot of my third and fourth year focused majorly on Team Bath Heart, including we have this group business design project in
Mhm.
third year, and that involves basically the second semester of our third year is a group project. So you can choose which group project to go on to. Some people choose competition teams to go into. I was already part of Team Bath Heart when we were selecting these, so I naturally went towards Team Bath Heart, and that was the group project that I got involved in. Um, and yeah, it was definitely a good project to get involved in, and it made me even more committed to the competition team as well.
What is the competition like itself? I've heard that you have to design a heart and then present on it.
Team Bath Heart, I mean, we're a competition team that is designing a total artificial heart, and we compete in an annual international competition called the Heart Hackathon. So the last 2 years, there's been 9 to 10 teams that have competed in the competition, and essentially it's held in a different location around the
Mhm.
world every year. So the first time it ran, it was held in Texas. So a couple of the students traveled to Texas to
Yeah.
first do a presentation on the device and kind of show the technical breakdown, but also the commercial side of it, so the business breakdown and how it would run like long term as a
Mhm.
business. But prior to that as well, what's part of the competition is submitting a very long report about the entire like technical breakdown, the prototyping, testing, all of it, and all of the mechanical and electronic side of it as well as the commercial side. So that's what's submitted before the competition. So the competition is essentially the presentation and showing your prototype. So yeah, so the team 2 years ago went to Texas. Last year, myself and 7 others traveled to Japan, which was amazing. And we basically did that presentation there, show them our prototype,
Mhm.
and we have been winners for 2 years running, and hopefully we keep winning. But yeah, so that's basically what the competition entails.
How long do you have to, design and develop this artificial heart?
So I would say that the time that we have is maybe 7 to 9 months. Obviously, it depends on whether or not you carry on your design from the previous year. So what we took to the competition, the most recent competition, was a completely new design. And so the next iterations of the designs are designed during this group business design project. So I worked on the 2025 design, but what we took to the competition was the 2024 design,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the competition team side. And now the next team is developing the 2025 design further, but obviously using things from the previous years and using like research that we found. But the way that we started at least was kind of from complete scratch because we completely
Hmm.
changed the design to improve it. And we had a lot more knowledge now. So yeah, I would say 7 to 9 months is how
Hmm.
much we spent on it.
And then when you say that, you and the team were working on the prototype, what
Yeah.
was your role, or what are just the roles that people can take in this competition?
Yeah, so I was team lead, and what that entailed was kind of oversight of the whole project, and that was making sure that the technical team was doing their work and the commercial team's doing their work. So there's a lot that goes on in terms of getting sponsors, getting the money, and then making sure that that money is being used for the technical work. So that's kind of how it all integrates. That is basically majorly what my role was, and my role also entailed like presentations and speaking to these sponsors and kind of a lot of public speaking.
Hmm.
And in the tech, so we have a really big technical team, which includes it's quite an interdisciplinary team because obviously you need engineers, but you also need biology experts who know kind of how to mimic
Hmm.
a real life heart. So we have on the engineering side, we have mechanical, electrical, simulations engineers, and then on the biology side, we have like people from natural sciences, people from studying biology. We have a few PhDs who are studying, more biology,
Hmm.
so they can help out with the experimentation. And then we have loads of like a wide range of disciplines on the commercial side as well. So working on business, international management, and they're working towards getting sponsorship, things like budgets, things like making sure that people are keeping record of the things that we're buying and
Hmm.
all of that, and asking the department for money. So everything kind of money related goes on there. And we also have a massive social media team that is making sure that we basically are publicizing everything that we do and we can make
Hmm.
the most of the opportunities that we get.
I was recently doing a robotics competition and we were looking for sponsors as well.
Mhm.
What was the process that you went through to look for and, find these sponsors?
Yeah. So when I started as team lead, I kind of wanted to focus on getting sponsorship because the team didn't have any sponsors so far. So that was kind of a major thing, and
Hmm.
that meant publicizing, making those connections and those networks. And a big part of that was what helped was working closely with the university and kind of making most of the, I guess, free opportunities that they had for students, which was our design exhibition that we have for our group business design project or open days and speaking to the right people in the right way. So our first sponsor was Autodesk, and they were pretty pivotal in us getting the rest of our sponsors. And the way we met them was through the design exhibition, and we kind of, I guess, had a unique selling point as well from the university perspective, being the only biomedical engineering competition
Hmm.
team. So we kind of sold it to them that way, and they were really keen. At first, they helped out with knowledge sharing and helping us out with a bit of prototyping. And then they ended up providing us with financial support for traveling to Japan.
Hmm.
So it ended up being an amazing collaboration, and it kind of snowballed us into making more connections, meeting, like going to more events, and then meeting more and more sponsors. So that was really, really useful.
Hmm. Being the team lead, you said you had to present and speak out in public a lot of times.
Yeah.
How did you, train this skill and be able to speak in front of that many people?
Yeah. So I think a lot of it came from practice in my schools, to be honest. So I think in my school in Shanghai, they were quite big on if you like presenting, then you're more than welcome to kind of present and then, be
Hmm.
confident and present these things. So in my school in China and in my school in Turkey as well, I think I got to a point where I was quite like confident with public speaking. Um, Obviously, it's not something that's really taught in electrical engineering, so I think I
Hmm.
definitely got it from my schools previously. I also went to school in India before China, and there as well, I think kind of coming from a sort of international background, they encouraged me more and more to do a lot of the public speaking as well, which I think helped.
what do you think that either you specifically or just the team as a whole learned from being part of Team Bath Art?
I think we learned a lot. We learned a lot about teamwork and sort of being patient with each other and sort of, yeah, I think majorly teamwork and how to kind of collaborate. I think we also found that maybe something that the university could do better at with especially specifically with electrical engineering, and something that we've kind of tried to communicate with them is more teamwork activities so that
Hmm.
we can all learn how to work, especially in a professional sort of environment, but also how important it is to have that kind of personal connection with each other in order to enhance how the team works together. So that's kind of, I think, the major thing that we learned. But we also learned to appreciate kind of a lot of aspects of engineering and a lot of aspects of biomedical engineering specifically because of how little we know about, of course, how a real life heart
Hmm.
works. And we got to learn a lot from other disciplines and other degrees within this team. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was one of the biggest things.
Going back to what you said earlier about doing this project in your third year because you were already part of the team,
Yeah.
how do you get yourself into these kind of engineering competitions when you join the university?
So I think most of the engineering competition teams in our university are very well publicized, but also very open and welcome. I can only really speak for Team Bath Heart. We've tried to really try to foster like an equal and diverse environment, and this is what I mean by interdisciplinary. We kind of opened it to everyone, and that there was a role for everyone, no matter the degree that you're doing. And also a big thing that we tried to kind of tackle was gender diversity as well. So
Hmm.
we really try to encourage women to join the team and different diversities and different groups of people to join the team no matter what, because especially this was done in open days or at the
Hmm.
design exhibitions, and kind of by taking part in every kind of exhibition that the university was holding so that we could publicize ourselves and have the right people say the right things. And I think one of the major things that's kind of, I guess, helped draw more people in is we've had three female team leads back to back now.
Hmm.
And I mean, this is purely by coincidence, but it has, I think, made a major impact. And I think it's encouraged each consecutive
Yeah.
team lead to even sign up for that role, because I know that I signed up for the role because I saw, oh, there's a female team lead. Let me
Hmm.
like go and speak to her. It's a bit, more open and honest culture. And I know that the new team lead also had the same mindset. So I think that's kind of helped a lot as well.
Mm. Doing these competitions at university, do you think that they helped you in terms of finding an industry placement?
I think so. I joined after doing my placement.
Hmm.
I know many people, for example, especially in Formula student teams, who have joined since first year, and I know that that's definitely played a role in them getting kind of their dream jobs or their dream placements. So that's really amazing to see. I think what helps a lot with competition teams in general is the industry links that you make through sponsors.
Hmm.
And I think getting your name out there and, getting like big people to basically know who you are or even present to them. And if you do a good job, I think that they definitely take notice, and it can definitely help in getting jobs or placements if you start much earlier on with competition teams.
Hmm. Looking at your placement with Alpine Formula One team, from now you can kind of compare the difference between working on a student project versus working in an actual company. What was the difference like?
Yeah, so that was definitely an amazing and unique experience, and I got very lucky to get that. I mean, it was a lot of support from the university as well to provide such like amazing opportunities with like Formula One teams. So what I did there was data engineering, so not really related at all to
Hmm.
electrical engineering, and that's kind of why I want to go into the computer science side as well. So yeah, it was an amazing experience, really, really professional, like amazing team that I worked in. And I think the way that it, I guess, compares to a university team, the major thing that I saw was, I guess, the professionalism. I think it's really hard to be in a leadership position when you're all students. It's
Hmm.
kind of difficult to define that hierarchy. And sometimes maybe it doesn't need to be defined, but to get things done, I think sometimes it does. So I think that was the major difference that I saw. But other than that, I think like everyone in Team Bath Heart had basically done a placement. So to some level, they did really understand
Hmm.
the professional side to it and kind of how to have meetings, like weekly meetings, all of that. They were really up to do
Yeah.
the work.
You was talking about how you want to go into more of the computer science side. Would F1 be the industry that you want to look into, or are there other companies that you have in mind of, wanting, hopefully trying to go into in the future?
Yeah, so I'm definitely not closed off to F1 because it was an amazing experience. But for the moment, I think I'm more focused on the role rather than the industry. So
Hmm.
I'm looking into data science, machine learning engineering,
Yeah.
AI roles, and all of that. So I think that's more of my focus. And I think eventually what I want to do is be able to use all of that for good. So essentially go into a sustainability
Yeah.
industry. And I've seen a lot of amazing companies that are up and coming and doing that. I just think you need, as like an entry level role, you need a bit of experience to get to those. And I mean, that's kind of the end goal for me, I think.
With your course, are there those modules in machine learning, but then also in sustainability of engineering?
So not at the moment. I don't think that they have anything for sustainability, but I do know that there's been a big like course change, so potentially that they might be offering that, or I think at least it would be great to offer that as a side. But again, like for your our final year project, it's really flexible, so you can propose your own projects.
Mm.
And I proposed sort of an AI related project, so I was looking at art restoration using AI
Mhm.
and machine learning and digital image processing techniques, but you could cater that to literally anything. So I could have catered that to more of something related to sustainability, and that would have been
Mhm.
awesome to do as well.
I think that's quite a neat project in terms of, mixing it with your hobby as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was really fun, and I'm glad that I got to finish my degree on something that like I really enjoyed.
Just as one sort of final question, if you had one piece of advice that you could give to someone, just finishing their IB or just starting university, what would it be?
I think I would say definitely go to a university that's big on placements. I think placement was definitely a highlight for me, and I know that Bath is one of the top universities for getting placements. I think it's an incredible experience, and it's really nice to kind of take a year out for everyone to, go into the real world and then come back and share everything that they learn. I think it's really nice. So I think definitely do that if you are thinking about going to university. And yeah, I mean, also the other thing is like, don't stress. Things change so fast, like day to day, that like if you're not sure about what you want to do now, like in a couple of years you will know, and it doesn't really matter if you don't know because it'll just figure itself out. So I think that's my advice.
Hmm. Well, thank you so much for coming,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
and
much for
thank you
having
for
me.
sharing your experiences.